Hello friends, today we are going to talk about how onions are harvested and processed in factory. At first, they begin to cut off the tip of the onion tree with machine. Then comes the harvester to pull the onions out of the ground. The job of the harvesters is to pull the onions out of the ground and cut down the excess trees. After harvesting the onions from the ground, it is the time to collect onions from the field. A tractor, together with the truck, comes to collect onions from the field. After collecting fresh onions from the field, tractor sends fresh onions directly to the truck via conveyor belt. Drivers drive a tractor and truck side by side for this process. After collecting onions from the field, they transfer them into the factory. Onions are unloaded from the truck by a conveyor belt. Worker keeps checking unloading process to avoid any interruption. After unloading onions into the conveyor belt, the belt sends the onions into the vibrating machine. There are a lot of sides of the pallet for onions. Worker sets the sides of pallet on demand. The sides balance do two different things. First, it separates extra sparks of dust and small rocks from the onions, and then sort the onion by size. Machine keeps checking the onions until it's sorted by size. Extra dust and small rocks are removed. This is what big size onions look like. Some companies also use advanced technology to filter onions into different sizes. They put onions through separate lines and then through tunnels. There are the lasers that scan onions and send pieces of information to computers. A worker always keeps track of the information. Then, the computer gives instruction to conveyor belt which separate onions by their size. Example of next process. They put onions one by one into cutting peeling machine. First, they make onions with point straight up and then down to prepare them for cutting. They rotate slicing machines on top and bottom of the onions to cut them precisely. After cutting the tips and the root of the onions, rotating machines rotate the air pressure blows the skin off. Worker cut the extra skins of onions and select the best one. After selecting the onions, they make the batch of them. Then, they put the batch of the onions into the grinder. Grinder grinds the onions into small fine pieces. After cutting onions into pieces, another wash is done to remove dirt from the onion pieces. Now those onion slices go to another weighing machine via conveyor belt to be weighted to a specific amount of packaging.